Hare Krishna, thank you for joining this morning. Let's make a start. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Giravardhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Giravardhari Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Agyantimirhandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantrada Kantanamastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanveshwari Rishabhanu Suti Devi Pranmami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatu Priyascha Kirpa Sindhuve Vacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Nama Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Sitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Garim Yat Kirpatam Mandashi Gurundi Taranam Paramananda Madam Shishtaneshram Hariam Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Sasvitvyasam Tato Chemaduriyat Nashta Preshabdreshu Nityam Bhagavad-Sevayā Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. Okay, so thank you once again for joining, and we are on verse 22 today. Previously, we were discussing how Arjun had really, Krishna said, give me your heart, and Arjun really had given his heart to Krishna, and he was in the mood of separation. He was missing him so much, recalling all the great things he had done for him. And Krishna, in his absence, had a big impact on Arjuna. He could see so many differences in his abilities. Krishna, he loves relationships. He's a Rasovesa, reservoir of all loving relationships. He prefers that to, glorification, praise, thing. He appreciates, makes some time and effort for him, but ultimately he would prefer to have relationships with the devotees. And we're also talking about how we should do everything from the heart. Giving your mind is good. Krishna says, give me your mind, but really he's saying, give me your heart. He can't, he personally can't say that to us. Srila Prabhupada said, give Krishna your heart. And you can't say to someone, you give me your heart, because you can't make somebody you can't make someone give your heart, give you their heart, right? Something they have to give, and you notice that they have given your heart. You can't force someone or buy somebody's heart. You can say, give me your mind, like concentrate on me, focus on me, but I don't think you can willfully force anyone to give you their heart. They have to give it freely, with their free will. They have to give it happily to you, and when they've given your heart, whether it's a relationship, material relationship or a spiritual relationship. Somebody has to give their heart, and you notice that, yes, they have now surrendered to me with their heart. So anyway, let's continue. So 22 and 23 are together. Rajam stvaya nuprashitanam surdam na suhurat pure pipar shapa pamudan nam nignatam mustibir mitaha varunim madiram pitva madon matita chetasam ajanatam ivan yo yam chathu pancha visheshitaha. So Rajan, O king, Pya, by you, Anu Prishtatanam, as you inquired, Suhurdam, of friends and relatives, Na a Suhrat Pure, in the city of Dwarka, Vipar, the Brahmins, Shap, by the curse of Vimudanam, of the befooled, Nignatam, of the killed, Mustibihi, with bunches of sticks, Mitha, among themselves, Varunim, fermented rice, Madiram, wine, Pitva, having drunk, Mad, Anmita, being intoxicated, Chetasam, of that mental situation, Ajantam, of the unrecognized, Eve, like, Anyonyam, one another, Chathu, 4, Panch, 5, Avishishitaha, now remaining. So just when the Pandavas thought they've seen everything in the battle of Kurukshetra, they bared that, and then they find out that Krishna has left, and now as a final stroke, they find out something else that is very, very painful. O king, since you have asked me about our friends and relatives in the city of Dwarka, I will inform you that all of them were cursed by the Brahmanas, and as a result they all became intoxicated with wine made of putrefied rice and fought among themselves with sticks, not even recognizing one another. Now all but 4 or 5 of them are dead. Now all but 4 or 5 of them are dead and gone. So not too long ago we were saying that Krishna's family is so large, there's millions of them, 100 16,108 wives, 10 children each, and then they've got children as well, like that. There's millions of them, and now all but 4 or 5 of them are dead. And this is like another Kurukshetra battle, right? It's like mini Kurukshetra, and again, it's a family. Seems to happen a lot in the Mahabharata. So, okay, yeah, there's nothing to add to that. I think it's self-explanatory, and it's quite astonishing. Pranita Bhagavat Ishvarasya Vicheshitatam Mitho Nignanti Bhutani Bhavyanti Chayan Mitha Prayena Etat. It is almost by Bhagavat of the personality Godhead, Ishvarasya of the Lord, Vicheshititam by the will of, Mitha one another, Nigananti do kill, Bhutani the living beings, Bhavyanti as also protect, Cha also yat of whom, Mitha one another. Factually, this is all due to the supreme will of the Lord, the personality of Godhead. Sometimes people kill one another, and other times they protect one another. And family is supposed to protect each other, and they probably have protected each other so many times, and now they killed each other. According to anthropologists, there is nature's law of struggle for existence and survival of the fittest, but they don't know that behind the law of nature is the supreme direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad-Gita, it is confirmed that the law of nature is executed under the direction of the Lord. Whenever, therefore, there is peace in the world, it must be known that it is due to the good will of the Lord. And whenever there is upheaval in the world, it is also due to the supreme will of the Lord. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. Whenever, therefore, there is disobedience of the established rules enacted by the Lord, there is war between men and nations. The shortest way to path of peace, therefore, is dovetailing everything to the established rule of the world, of the Lord. The established rule is that whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we sacrifice, or whatever we give in charity, must be done to the full satisfaction of the Lord. No one should do anything, eat anything, sacrifice anything, or give anything in charity against the will of the Lord, because everything belongs to Krishna anyway. Discretion is the better part of valor, and one must learn how to discriminate between actions which may be pleasing to the Lord and those which may not be pleasing to the Lord. An action is thus judged by the Lord's pleasure or displeasure. There is no room for personal whims. We must always be guided by the pleasure of the Lord. Such action called yoga karmasu koshalam, or actions performed which are linked to the Supreme Lord, that is the art of doing things perfectly. Yoga karmasu koshalam. So at the moment, everything we do tends to be for our own, self-centered motivation or gratification. But things should not be self-centered. They should be Krishna-centered. In the motivation to do service for Krishna. So everything should be applied in the service of Krishna. It's not, but at the moment we apply things for our own gratification, own senses, and then there's some things we like, and then some things we don't like, but this is like personal reasons. But it's saying that we should know what Krishna likes, what he doesn't like, and do that instead is better. It's better for your bhakti that you look after the likes and dislikes of Krishna rather than your own likes and dislikes. Why? Because if you just worried about your own likes and dislikes and you want to be a devotee, then those likes and dislikes will become obstacles in your bhakti. So put Krishna in the center and see what he likes and dislikes rather than what you like and dislike. And so that's 24. It says Krishna has a will, a certain desires. If we do things against his will, for example, you ate something Krishna doesn't want you to eat, although he will sanction it because he doesn't want to interfere with your free will. What you sow, you shall reap. That is Krishna's law. You will not get his blessings if the activity is not in line with his blessings. Let Krishna guide, help and reveal to us. For that you have to be connected like the Pandavas were connected with Krishna. So only when we have a connection with him, then he will guide us. He will tell us what he likes, what he doesn't like. Otherwise, we are just assuming things, going by what we like and what we dislike, and that is dangerous. So 25, 26. Jalao kasam jale yadvan mahanto adanti anish yasaha durbalan balino rajan mahanto balino mitaha evam blisthe yadubir mahadabi itaran vibu yadubir an yonyam bhubaran sanjaharaha. So Jalao Kasam of the aquatics, Jale in the water, Yadvat as it is, Mahanta the large one, Adanti swallows, Ani Yasaha smaller ones, Durbalan the weak, Balina the stronger, Rajan or king, Mahanataha the strongest, Balina less strong. So Balina can mean the stronger and Balina can mean less strong. Mitaha in a duel, evam thus balishtahi by the strongest, Yadubihi by the descendants of Yadu, Mahadabihi one who has greater strength, Itran the common ones, Vibhu the supreme personality Godhead, Yadun all the Yadus, Yadubi by the Yadus, Anyonayam among one another, Bhu Bharan, the burden of the world, Sanjahara has unloaded in the past. So, O king, as in the ocean, the bigger and stronger aquatics swallow up the smaller and weak ones, so also the Supreme Personality Godhead, to lighten the burden of the earth, has engaged the stronger Yadu to kill the weaker and the bigger Yadu to kill the smaller. Interesting. So in the material world, the struggle for existence, survival of the fittest are lost because in the material world there is disparity between conditioned souls due to everyone's desire to lord it over the material resources. This very mentality of lording it over the material nature is the root cause of conditioned life. And to give facility to such imitation lords, the illusory energy of the Lord has created a disparity between conditioned living beings by creating the stronger and the weaker in every species of life. The mentality of lording it over the material nature and the creation has naturally created disparity and therefore the law struggle for existence. In the spiritual world, there is no such disparity, nor is there such a struggle for existence. In the spiritual world, there is no struggle for existence because everyone there exists eternally anyway. There is no disparity because everyone wants to render service to the Supreme Lord and no one wants to imitate the Lord in becoming the beneficiary. So everybody has a common goal. The Lord, being creator of everything, including the living beings, factually is the proprietor and enjoyer of everything that be. But in the material world, by the spell of Maya or illusion, this eternal relation with Supreme Personality Godhead is forgotten, and so the living being is conditioned under low struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. So everybody wants to be God, that they want to be the controllers, they want to be the enjoyers, they want to be in charge, and whoever they can rule over, They do, and then somebody rules over them, and somebody rules over them, and everybody is out to get one another. But the ultimate ruler, enjoyer, proprietor is Krishna himself. There is no one above him, and we forget that, and we're not happy about it. That, but we don't even need to go past Krishna. There's somebody above us, probably just down the road, So we don't even need to look at Krishna. So we can't, we cannot say that we are the strongest, we are the richest, we are this and that, because there's always somebody better, not too far away. So the actual beneficiary of everything is Krishna. So we can't imitate the Lord in becoming the beneficiary. So it says the desire to exploit Krishna's energy, to enjoy his energies, that's our defect. That's what keeps us here in the material world. That is our conditioning, because that's what we wanted in the first place. So, we get conditioned so we can do it without any shame. If the question is, how can I enjoy Kirtan more? But the point is, Kirtan is not for our enjoyment, but for Krishna's pleasure. It's to glorify him, to give him pleasure. So if we are doing Kirtan or we're singing along, it's not, oh, I love this Kirtan, I love this tune, I love this person who's singing this, sing so nicely. It's to give Krishna, we sing along together and say, Krishna, I hope you're enjoying this. That should be the real attitude, not that I'm really enjoying this. Of course you are. If Krishna's enjoying it, you will enjoy it. It's natural, because we're all part of Krishna. When Krishna's happy, we're all happy. But ultimate mentality, consciousness should be that, hope Krishna is enjoying this. If anyone thinks Krishna is like a playboy, when we think about it, we are the playboy. We are enjoying his energies. Our family belongs to him. Everything belongs to Krishna. So it's for engaging in his service. That's the key to this. And finally, 27. Deshakarat yuktani harit tapo pashyamani cha haranti samaratas chitam govinda bihitani me. So desh as in space, kal time, earth importance, yuktani impregnated with, hrit the heart, tap burning, upashamani extinguishing, cha and haranti are attracting, smritaha by remembering, chitam is the mind, govinda the supreme personality pleasure, and abhi hitani narrated by me unto me. So now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by Personality Godhead, Govinda, because they are impregnated with instructions for revealing the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. So now, herein Arjuna refers to the instruction of Bhagavad-Gita, which was imparted to him by the Lord on the battle of Kurukshetra. So in the Bhagavad-Gita, Arjuna asks the questions and Krishna gives the answers. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna asks the questions, or Lord Chaitanya asks the questions, and Ramananda Rai, he gives the answers. So like the swap roles in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but here Krishna, he asks the questions and he hears nicely to the instructions and he remembers the instructions. The Lord left behind him in the instructions of the Bhagavad-Gita, not for the benefit of Arjuna alone, but also for all time and in all lands. The Bhagavad-Gita, being spoken by the Supreme Personality Godhead, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom. It is nicely represented by the Lord himself for all who have very little time to go through the vast Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Purans, Vedanta Sutras. It is put within the study of the great historical epic Mahabharata. which was especially prepared for the less intelligent class, namely the women, the laborers, and those who are worthless, descendants of the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and higher sections of the Vaishyas. So these are like people who are not really interested in bhakti. Once you come to bhakti, Srila Prabhupada said, then everybody is equal. But when they're not, they're too much into bodily concept, too much into sense gratification, then they come into these classes. Once you come into Krishna consciousness, everyone is devotee, and there is no differentiation between of bodies. We all spirit soul, and when we realize that, then everyone's equal. The Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, doesn't matter who it is, everyone is equal. A Shudra can become a Brahman. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. In a Shudra can become a Brahman, and it should not be seen any different because of his birth. And it's all explained in the Nectar of Instruction. It's a Vaishnava-Prad. If you see the bodily concept of a person, of a devotee especially, it's the bodily concept or his bodily defects or his accidental mistakes that a devotee does, they should not be looked down upon. Maharaj Bharat, he accidentally became attached to a deer. He had to take birth as a deer, but that we should not see that as a defect of Maharaj Bharat, because he's still a devotee, and he even remained a devotee even as a deer. He was so attracted. He remembered his previous birth. So these things happen for human beings, but we not in a position to look down upon anyone, and that is Vaishnava Aparadh. The problem which arose in the heart of Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra was solved by the teachings of Bhagavad-Gita. And just to add one more thing, when we do Vaishnava Aparadh and we don't do praschit, we don't correct it, then that aparadh keeps increasing, it grows, right? It's live. It's not that you don't aparadh and it's left there until further notice. If you do Vaishnava Aparadh, unless you've rectified it, you sorted it, you've been forgiven, that aparadh will grow and grow and grow bigger and bigger. So if we do aparadh, then best we do something about it quickly as possible before it starts growing bigger and bigger. Then there'll be like bigger price to pay. So again, after the departure of the Lord from the vision of earthly people, when Arjuna was face to face with being vanquished in his acquired power and prominence, he wanted again to remember the great teaching of the Bhagavad-Gita, just to teach all concerned that the Bhagavad-Gita can be consulted in all critical times, not only for solace from all kinds of mental agonies, but also for the way out of great entanglements which may embarrass one in some critical hour. So the merciful Lord left behind, the great teachings of the Bhagavad-Gita, so that one can take the instructions of the Lord even when it's not visible to material eyesight. So thus the Vani, material senses cannot have any estimation of the Supreme Lord, but by its inconceivable power of the Lord can incarnate himself to the sense perception of the conditioned souls in a suitable manner through the agency of matter, which is also another form of Lord's manifest energy, like Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad-Gita. Thus the Bhagavad-Gita or any authentic scriptural sound representation of the Lord is also the incarnation of the Lord. There is no difference between the sound representation of the Lord and the Lord himself. One can derive the same benefit from Bhagavad-Gita as Arjuna did in the personal presence of the Lord. So having Bhagavad-Gita, having Bhagavatam, we have Krishna right next to us, and we can ask for guidance, for instructions. The faithful human being who is desirous of being liberated from the clutches of material existence can very easily take advantage of the Bhagavad-Gita, and with this in view, the Lord instructed Arjuna as if Arjuna were in need of it. In the Bhagavad-Gita, 5 important factors of knowledge have been delineated pertaining to the Supreme Lord, the living being, nature, time and space, and process of activity. So out of these, the Supreme Lord and the living being are qualitatively one. Difference between the two has been analyzed as the difference between the whole and the part and parcel. So nature is inert matter displaying the interaction of 3 different modes, and eternal time, unlimited space are considered to be beyond the existence of the material nature. Activities of living being are different varieties of aptitudes which can entrap or liberate the living being within and without material nature. All these subject matters are concisely discussed in the Bhagavad-Gita. So there's 5 topics. Bhagavad-Gita, there's the Ishvara and the Atma, Prakriti, time, like that, and process of activity, that's karma, which can be changed. We can change our karma. So all these things are discussed, the 5 subject topics of Bhagavad-Gita. So nature is inert in matter displaying interaction of 3. We've done that. Okay. So all the subject matters are concisely discussed in Bhagavad-Gita, and later the subject matters are elaborated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam for further enlightenment. So like degree and graduation, postgraduate. So further enlightenment is then, those subjects are expanded. That's why Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is so huge topic, because those topics of Bhagavad-Gita are further expanded in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So it's still Krishna, it's still the instruction of Krishna, but we get examples and pastimes and everything in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Out of the 5 subjects, the Supreme Lord, the living entity, nature, time, space are eternal, but the living entity, nature and time are under the direction of the Supreme Lord, who is absolute and completely independent of any other control. The Supreme Lord is a supreme controller. The material activity of the living beings is beginningless, but it can be rectified by transferal into the spiritual quality. So this is our karma. We can change our karma. We can also clear our karmic reactions through spirituality, through chanting the Mahamantra, listening to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, serving the person Bhagavatam, devotee Bhagavat as well. So that's something we have control over. Thus, it can cease its material qualitative reactions. Both the Lord and the living are cognizant, and both have the sense of identification or being conscious as a living force. So we can all think, we have intelligence, but the living being under condition of material nature called Mahatattva, but we are under illusion. We have intelligence, but we are under illusion, which misidentifies himself as being different from the Lord. The whole scheme of Vedic wisdom is targeted to the aim of eradicating such a misconception and thus liberating the living being from the illusion of material identification. When such an illusion is eradicated by knowledge and renunciation, the living beings are responsible actors and enjoyers also. The sense of enjoyment in the Lord is real, but such a sense in the living is a sort of wishful desire only. This difference in consciousness is the distinction of the 2 identities, namely the Lord and the living beings. Otherwise, there is no difference between the Lord and the living being. The living being is therefore eternally one and different simultaneously. The whole instruction of Bhagavad-Gita stands on this principle. Now, the thing is, at one level of consciousness, we think we are this body or this mind. And then we get a little higher consciousness, we think we are spirit soul. But then that understanding can sometimes be misleading as well, because now we think because we are spiritual, we are spirit soul, we are equal to God. And this is what you get with the Mayavadis and Brahmavadis. They think they are God because they have this spiritual quality, spiritual identification, and suddenly we are God. We don't need to serve anyone because we are also God. We just become one with God, and we are God. And we've only come here into material world, and we got this body, but we are actually God. We are Narayan. And once we leave this body, we'll be God again. And they also think that when God comes here, he also goes into illusion. So, there's no difference between us and God. But Lord Chaitanya explains that eternally we are one and different simultaneously. This is the key that the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna Chaitanya, he gave us, that we are spiritual, but yet we are different. God is different to us. He is unlimited. We are very, very, very limited. In the Bhagavad-Gita, the Lord and the living beings are both described as Sanatan or eternal, and the Lord's abode far beyond the material sky is also described as Sanatan. The living is invited to live in Sanatan existence of the Lord, and the process which can help a living to approach the Lord's abode where the liberated activity of soul is exhibited is called Sanatan Dharma. One cannot, however, reach the eternal abode of the Lord without being free from the misconception of material identification. And the Bhagavad-Gita gives us the clue how to achieve this stage of perfection. The process of being liberated from the misconception of material identification is called, in different stages, fruitive activity, and then empiric philosophy, and then devotional service, up to transcendental realization. So these are different levels of consciousness here. Such transcendental realization is made possible by dovetailing all the above items in relation with the Lord. Prescribed duties of the human being, as directed in the Vedas, can gradually purify the sinful mind of the conditioned soul and raise him to the stage of knowledge. The purified stage of acquiring knowledge becomes the basis of devotional service to the Lord. As long as one is engaged in researching the solution of the problems of life, his knowledge is called Gyan or purified knowledge. But on realizing the actual solution of life, one becomes situated in the devotional service of the Lord. And that is real Gyan, knowing our position. But on realizing the actual solution, the Bhagavad-Gita begins with the problems of life by discriminating the soul from the elements of matter, and proves by all reason and argument that the soul is indestructible in all circumstances. That's Sankhya philosophy, and that the outer covering of matter, the body and the mind, change form for another term of material existence, which is full of miseries. So it's only the soul that is actually carried forward. Everything else changes. The Bhagavad-Gita is therefore meant for terminating all different types of miseries, and Arjuna took shelter of this great knowledge which had been imparted to him during the Kurukshetra battle. So that helps Arjuna at least, to know who, his identification and how, we travel in this universe through the soul. So like that, and how we are all very temporary. So all these things, that they come in very useful when we have, in the time of grief. This is very useful for us and for anyone else who needs that help at that time. So that was 27. So let's see if we can quickly add something. So all solutions now and always in the Bhagavad-Gita. Every difficulty, every situation can be solved through Bhagavad-Gita. Bhagavad-Gita is not different to Krishna. It gives you a solution according to the level of your consciousness. So level of consciousness is very important. How, what stage we are in, how we're thinking. It's not the activity that becomes spiritual, but the consciousness behind it determines whether it's material or spiritual. This happens when we understand that Krishna is the controller and the enjoyer. So he's the ultimate God and the supreme, and we can never be God. Actually, that's the line. We can never be God. Doesn't matter, whatever level of consciousness we are in, we can never be God. And sooner we understand that, soon as things can be put into the right place. So thank you so much. Time's going on. Let's share some realizations. So what we picked up from that. We'll start with Hina Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the class. And I think some of my observations are the key takeaways for me from the class. It's almost like I'm preaching to myself here, is that the realization that our lives are for Krishna. And that is the key reason why we're here and why we have this life. And that the key in trying to keep that central is, and remembering that always, is to dovetail everything around him and for him, everything that we do. And what I need to do is try to make him my life and soul. And our personal endeavor is important. And that we need to strengthen our desire for Krishna, to serve him, to serve the devotees. This desire is all we have. So, we need to really strengthen that, and then the Lord will see this endeavor and see how much we want to pursue in advancing our spiritual life, and then hopefully through his mercy he can help facilitate that desire. And then, as you in the latter verses as well, Prabhu, obviously you pointed out how we falsely identify with our material body, and the bodies that we take as illusions. We take it as our reality. We associate with our role, our physical look, etc. We forget our real identities, that we are servants of the Lord, and that's our real constitutional position. So those were my key takeaways. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Pundikaksh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Danut Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Our Lord Srila Prabhupada. Arjuna, finally, he is able to explain the reason of his sadness. And finally, he came into his consciousness and sharing what has happened actually with Yudhishthira Maharaj, because Yudhishthira Maharaj is equally worried that what might have happened, because he has seen all the bad symptoms of Kali Yuga. And I was reading another purport of Srila Prabhupada yesterday, where Prabhupada mentioned that anybody who read Bhagavad-Gita, either they are connected to Krishna or not connected to Krishna, they will get a benefit. Because if you see, like waking up early, getting the guidance of a spiritual master, eating proper food, following your following things regularly, all of them will help in every field for everybody. But still, Bhagavad Gita is written as the essence of all the scriptures and given us very in nice way of instruction. Whether you understand or not understand, just follow it. You will get benefit of it. But again, Prabhupada defined intelligent person. Non-intelligent person is not by intellectual skills or abilities, but by not having that knowledge of I am the soul, God is there, and there is always a relationship between me and the God, and God is personal. If this information is not there, they're deemed to be like intelligent, even though they show a lot of progress in material life. And certainly when you try to become a lord or a big boss, even in your community also, if you try to become a boss, then you will understand the results immediately. So always we need to cooperate with everybody and understand who is the real boss and serve him. That is the best way to approach him. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah. And yes, Bhagavad Gita, we go around distributing Gita Janti and other times, book distribution. We want everybody to read Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't matter which religion they're from, who they are. what language they speak, what color they are, everybody. Bhagavad-Gita is for everyone. That's the instructions of the Lord. Now, we don't necessarily expect everybody to read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it's there to be read. So what happens? Everybody can read Bhagavad-Gita. If they become enlightened with that, they find it, yes, this is the way, then they can read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, further. And so Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is for the devotees. They've really got into this. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I want to follow this. And read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and then you want to follow it further, then you go Chaitanya Charitamrita for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas want to read that. So Bhagavad-Gita is for everyone. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. We can see that the departure of Krishna led to anarchy, chaos, and disruption. Wine, women, song, and violence followed. And you can see that once Krishna becomes away from the center, that we want to lord it over nature. We want to be the doer, and we want to be the enjoyer of the material things around us. We should be protectors of families, but at the time of Kurukshetra, families were at war. Families are at war now. The flip side of a coin, good and bad. We should be protectors of families, but even families are at war. Property, wealth, and few pieces of silver. How sad that we have taken away Krishna and we have not become Krishna-centric, but we have become self-egocentric, and it's all about me, myself, mine, and mine alone. Return back to doing things for the pleasure of Krishna, because all that things that are happening now is for the displeasure of Krishna. All that is happening that in society, world leaders, nature, is not pleasing the divine. Global warming. These are against the laws of nature. If we want a bit of rain, we do seeding. You create a bit of rain. Not natural. If you want to write an essay, AI, ChatGPT. Forget about doing literature search. Forget about making the effort. Quick fixes. Krishna wants us to make the effort for him and for his pleasure. Ultimately, if we want to be the enjoyer, we will only return back. He is the ultimate doer. And least we forget that. That there is also the beauty within our parampara, that even a Sudra can become a Brahmin. And in our families, we can see that even Brahmins have descended the ladder, that they fall from grace because they're intoxicated and they need the pleasure of flesh. We have to remember these are saintly qualities which are enshrined in the Shastras. Vaishnavas' association is so powerful, so important. And it was mentioned that Vaishnava aparad is the greatest sin that any of us can possibly commit. If there is any difficulties between Vaishnavas, that should be resolved quickly, because this festers quicker than cancer does. And so this should be dealt with the utmost urgency, clarity, and quickness, so that we can move on to becoming Krishna-centric again. Krishna speaks to us every day through Bhagavatam, through Bhagavad-Gita, and through the Chaitanya Chamrita. We have a direct communication with divine every day. That should be our handbook, and a handbook for life. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. Once we get a taste for it through Bhagavad-Gita, then we go for the big chunk, which is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and there's so much of it you can enjoy every day. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, I think Pravi Mataji is listening only today, unless anything has changed, and otherwise we'll go to Ajay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
There's some important verses here. Of course, they're all important, but these remind us of that this relationship with the Lord is eternal. The Lord is eternal. We are eternal as well. And it's not something we can ignore. If we ignore it, that's when we get into this mess of samsara. It's the natural constitution for us, as we are his part and parcel. It's the easier way to do things, actually. Yet, unfortunately, due to conditioning, we try to take a difficult route. It's like eating junk food instead of healthy food. You might get a quick taste for it, but then you suffer the side effects of it, as opposed to eat healthy. It tastes nice and it's good for you. And we put it like that, it seems ridiculous that we've found ourselves in a situation, yet that is the thing. That is just when you deny yourself the correct course, you can get confused very easily. Maya has that ability, if you allow it, that as in Praksha-Patmika, as in it can pull you away from bhakti, and Avarnatmika, as in it covers your intelligence. That is what's happening when we go away from Krishna. We are pulled away from him, and our intelligence is covered. That's all we need to do, really. We need to just associate with the devotees, serve them. That's what real association is. So serve the Guru, read the Shastra, and then our intelligence is awakened, and we pull towards Krishna rather than away from him. And what becomes a difficult situation becomes a simple situation. And sometimes some people might feel like, oh, sounds very easy, but it's not that difficult, actually. It takes a bit of effort. Once you actually, for example, when you're chanting, if you just actually put the mala in your hand and start chanting, then it becomes enjoyable. It's actually just taking to the method. It's like getting up in the morning. Oh, it's really cold. Or whatever. Once you get up, it's fine. You start moving around. Your body warms up. Similar with bhakti. Just get to it. You just need to develop that taste. The more taste you develop, the easier it gets. So as in, once you get to the point of nishtha, after that, bhakti becomes easier. We still got steadiness. And as explained before, it's that you just avoid the Vaishnava aparadh. If you just consciously avoid the aparadhs, then you will progress quicker as well. It's all there for us. We just need to follow the path. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thanks so much. Yeah, make sure when you're on the path, there's no obstacles on the way. In your Bhakti Lata Beach, there is no weeds that need. Weeds will come from time to time. We take them out to get healthy growth in your bhakti. Thanks so much, Radharani.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. Yes, we can see that when Lord wants, Lord will, manifest His Leela, manifest His pastimes, and everything is so sublime and beautiful to hear and discuss. And then alongside comes this part when Lord has decided that everything is done. What was to be done here in this Leela, now it's time to move to the another Leela, and how everything gets wound up. And we can imagine the situation of the associates who thought that, because they were in this material world, so they felt that it was going to be forever with the Lord, but soon things, they just changed. And this is what we have to remember, that we have got this beautiful opportunity to discuss and to understand about Lord, about the importance of our life, the real purpose of our life, and how to manifest those opportunities which are all around us. We just have to be careful to absorb them, and just to not waste our time. Time is Lord says again and again. In this material world there is always this survival of the fittest, but in the spiritual world I was thinking it is kind of survival of the fittest there as well, isn't it? We have to fight against our mind, which is a kind of Maya itself. So there is also survival of the fittest in spiritual side of life as well. We have to fight because we have accepted this material life in this material world. So there is going to be a fight
in this material world.
In this material world
During
for us
spiritual-
during spiritual existence as well. So this is how it's, because if there was no trial, no tribulation, I think everybody will be doing this, and this world will not be material world, it will be spiritual itself. So we have to remember that, and we have to follow the Lord's instructions given in the Shastras, beginning from Bhagavad-Gita, and take yourself all the way up. So many commentaries, so many interpretations are there now, thanks to the YouTube and to the use your smartphone smartly, that the way they say nowadays. That's the only way for us. Otherwise we can waste our time. There are so many things to waste your time in the day. We all waste our time, but as long as we remember while wasting our time that, okay, I wasted this much time, now go back to how I should be using my time, we'll be fine. And the instructions of our Lord, yes, He's everyone's Lord, is the only thing which is going to soothe our hearts in this existence in the material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, and thank you all for wonderful realizations and comments, and we'll do more on Friday, so catch up then. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you all so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.